The Mexican-American War, also known as the U.S.-Mexican War, was a conflict that took place from 1846 to 1848 between the United States and Mexico. The war arose from border disputes between the two countries, as well as tensions over the issue of slavery and the expansion of the United States westward. In the early 1800s, Mexico won its independence from Spain, which had previously ruled the country. At the time, Mexico's territory included what is now California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado, Texas, Wyoming, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Meanwhile, the United States was expanding westward, with settlers moving into the Oregon Territory and Texas, which had been part of Mexico until it declared independence in 1836. Tensions between the United States and Mexico began to escalate in the early 1840s, particularly over the issue of Texas. In 1845, the United States annexed Texas, which had previously been an independent republic, and made it a state. However, Mexico still considered Texas to be part of its territory and refused to recognize its independence. In addition to the issue of Texas, there were also disputes over the border between the two countries. The United States claimed that the border was at the Rio Grande, while Mexico insisted that it was at the Nueces River, further to the north. The disputed territory between the two rivers was known as the Nueces Strip. In 1845, President James K. Polk sent John Slidell, a representative, to Mexico to negotiate a settlement of the border dispute and to purchase California and New Mexico. However, the Mexican government refused to receive Slidell, and tensions continued to rise. In April 1846, a small detachment of American troops under the command of Captain Seth Thornton was attacked by Mexican forces near the Rio Grande. This incident led to the start of hostilities between the United States and Mexico. President Polk believed that a war with Mexico would allow the United States to acquire additional territory in the West. He asked Congress to declare war, which it did on May 13, 1846. The initial phase of the war took place in Texas, where U.S. troops led by General Zachary Taylor won a series of victories. The U.S. forces then turned their attention to New Mexico and California, both of which were under Mexican control. In California, American settlers declared their independence from Mexico in June 1846, and U.S. forces under the command of Commodore Robert Stockton and General Stephen Kearny quickly took control of the territory. In New Mexico, U.S. troops under the command of Kearny also won a series of victories, and the territory was occupied by U.S. forces. Meanwhile, in Mexico, American forces under the command of General Winfield Scott landed at Veracruz in March 1847 and marched inland toward Mexico City. Scott's forces won a series of battles, including the Battle of Buena Vista and the Battle of Cerro Gordo. Mexico City was captured by American forces in September 1847, effectively ending the war. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, signed on February 2, 1848, recognized Texas as part of the United States and established the Rio Grande as the border between the two countries. Mexico also ceded California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Oklahoma, and Kansas to the United States. In exchange, the United States paid Mexico $15 million and assumed $3.25 million in debts owed to American citizens by the Mexican government. The Mexican-American War had a number of significant consequences. For one, it marked the beginning of the United States' westward expansion, which would eventually lead to the acquisition of California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, and Oklahoma. This expansion helped solidify the concept of manifest destiny, the belief that it was America's destiny to extend its influence and territory across the continent. The war also had a significant impact on Mexico. The country suffered a devastating loss of territory, with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ceding more than half of its territory to the United States. Mexico also experienced significant economic and political instability in the aftermath of the war, with many Mexicans resenting the loss of their land and national pride. The Mexican-American War also had far-reaching consequences for slavery in the United States. The issue of whether or not slavery would be allowed in the newly acquired territories became a major point of contention, ultimately leading to the Compromise of 1850, which allowed California to enter the Union as a free state while also enacting stronger fugitive slave laws. The war also had implications for U.S.-Latin American relations. The U.S. was seen as an aggressor by many Latin American countries, and the war served to reinforce the idea of U.S. imperialism and interventionism in the region. Additionally, the loss of territory and national pride led to increased anti-American sentiment in Mexico and other Latin American countries. Overall, the Mexican-American War had a profound impact on the United States, Mexico, and the broader international community. It marked a significant moment in American history and helped shape the country's westward expansion and attitudes toward imperialism and foreign intervention. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video with your friends.